These are 10 things I learned from starting a podcast 3 months ago. You will not be liked by everyone. This is actually something I learned very early on, but I have had a few people pretty much from day one who've either not supported the show or have simply explicitly left negative comments and negative feedback on my show. Sometimes when a hater says something, it might actually benefit you if you look at the context or even the subcontext beneath what they're saying. I posted a video talking about my show a couple months back. So I had a lot of shit talkers talking about my mic. What I loved about it was that it totally opened up my eyes to a simple mistake that I had made. And also you have to understand that you're probably not gonna get things right from the jump. This is a learning journey. So there's going to be things that I look back on today while making and dropping this video, and I'm going to cringe at myself and be like, damn. You should be able to constantly critique yourself and use that as an opportunity to grow. I started a podcast 3 months ago, and since launching, I didn't realize how much work it was going to be. Podcasts are the new hot thing, and some people who have them truthfully may not be the most qualified. And to be honest, I hope you don't feel the same way about me, because my goal here is to bring you value and share experiences that I've learned along my journey. Over the past few months of starting this podcast, I have learned so much about the art of podcasting, about the industry of podcasting, what it takes to start a podcast, but also run a podcast. And I want to share those findings with you here today. This is going to be part of an ongoing series, and I might make a few of these, maybe, a couple times a year, just to kind of keep you guys updated on my journey, because I think every time I do this and in every step of the journey, I'm going to keep learning new things. Without further ado, let's get into it. These are 10 things I learned from starting a podcast 3 months ago. So first, you will not be liked by everyone. This is actually something I learned very early on, and I'll admit I haven't really gotten a lot of hate, but I have had a few people pretty much from day one who've either not supported the show, have said some negative things behind my back, or have simply explicitly left negative comments and negative feedback on my show. The thing about haters is you have to understand the psychology of who a hater is and why they're hating, right? Like sometimes haters hate on you because they disagree with you or because they're envious of you. Other times, haters might actually be supporting you secretly, and sometimes they might be beneficial. Like sometimes when a hater says something, it might actually benefit you if you look at the context or even the subcontext beneath what they're saying. For example, I posted a video talking about my show a couple of months back. This is a video, if you saw my Instagram, it went mini viral, got 500,000 views. And it basically was me talking about, how it took me 7 months to build this podcast. Now in the comments, most of them were positive. Most people were super supportive. Most people were excited to know what the show is about. But there were some people who kind of nitpicked at my setup, mainly my audio setup, right? So I had a lot of shit talkers talking about my mic. My mic was sideways. It wasn't pointed directly straight into my mouth. And apparently if the mic with this type of mic, if you don't have it angled properly, you're not getting optimal audio quality. And I didn't know that. I'm not an audio guy, right? And I got one comment that got a lot of comments in there, and then I got a lot of additional random comments from other people talking about my setup, and they kind of shit on me, but what I loved about it was that it totally opened up my eyes to a simple mistake that I had made, and it was that I was not optimizing the best audio setup. So even though I got shit on, the comment was actually, and even though the guy was kind of negative and kind of an asshole, it was so beneficial. It literally it really helped me out with my audio. Is my audio significantly better? Not really, but is it at least 10 to 20% better? I personally think so. So to all the people who shit on me in the comments about my audio, thank you, because I genuinely appreciate the feedback. I need this show to be better. So, I'm thankful for the haters. I'm thankful for the lovers. I'm thankful for everybody. And I want you to know that any criticism I get is welcome. And for you, for anybody who wants to start a podcast or a show or a YouTube channel, you need to have thick skin. You need to be tolerant. You need to be patient with others, but you also need to be patient with yourself, because if you lose that patience, it's going to drive you crazy. And also you have to understand that you're probably not going to get things right from the jump. Like for me, I didn't exactly configure my audio correctly from the jump, and that's okay. Like, this is a learning journey. So there's going to be things that I look back on today while making and dropping this video, and I'm going to cringe at myself and be like, damn, I can't believe, the lights were like this, or the edit was like this, or whatever. Like, you should be able to constantly critique yourself and use that as an opportunity to grow. Okay. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing I learned about starting a podcast 3 months ago was that podcasting is a full-time job, if not a really insane part-time job with a lot of hours. If you're like me, and if you're super picky and super critical and you're a perfectionist, you're going to do a lot of things yourself. And in my case, I was doing everything myself. From day one, I've been doing everything myself. I book the guests, I do the research, I set up the lights and cameras in here, and I edit all by myself. So everything you see is a one-man operation. And as of recently, I've had people, reach out, and they've been interested in helping me. And now I have a few people who believe in the vision, who are giving me a little bit of help on the outside with certain tasks and a little bit of research. But for the most part, the operation is still ran by myself. And so I'm now in a situation where I have to figure out, how can I make this fit within my life? For a lot of you, if you're starting a podcast, you might be a freelancer like myself, or you might have a full-time job, right? So if you're working 40 to 60 hours a week doing something else, and you want to start a podcast and you want to take it seriously, you have to be ready to be working 2 separate jobs. You're working, if you have your day job, your podcast is your night shift. It's your side hustle. It's literally going to be in tandem with your job. It's a whole other job of its own. Now, you could buy that time back if you invest and you want to, be negative from your podcast for the first, several months or maybe years, and you want to outsource help and you want to get a crew and people to help you with your editing or your shooting, whatever. Sure. But that's an investment. So you have to decide, if I'm making a good amount of money, if I have a lot of good, disposable income, can I use that money to finance a podcast? And if you're not in that position, then you got to basically trade time, right? So in my case, I wanted to trade time mainly not necessarily for the money purpose, but rather for the purpose of curating the show. I mean, still things can get expensive. Like, I'm not in a position where I can afford a full-time crew for this whole show. That's a whole production. So what I'm doing right now is, because I'm a perfectionist, because I'm not in that position at the moment, I'm just trading my time, to make this happen. But as a result, it's become a full-time job that's making me $0. Like, I'm not monetizing the show at the moment. I hope I can come back in 3 more months and tell you I'm monetizing the show, but as of now, I'm not. So everything you see is a labor of love. It's for you guys. It's for the people watching, all you beautiful people out there. Like, you have to understand, this is not going to be something that you can just kind of like do on the side. It could be, actually. Like, you could do this on the side if you wanted to just be a part-time thing, release an episode every month or something. But for me, who has a pretty consistent weekly posting schedule, you're going to have to be on it, man. This is no joke. And now I'm in a situation where, I took off time from work to focus on the show. And now as I'm getting back into work as a freelancer, I'm going to have to figure out, how can I create that delicate balance between work, life, and the podcast? It's damn near impossible, and it's probably going to be tough until I can outsource a lot more help. But for now, I'm willing to grind it out. I may lose sleep. You have to trade something. So in my situation, I'm just really trading time, sleep, maybe a little bit of my sanity, and hopefully it gets better. And that actually leads me to my next point. The third thing that I learned from starting a podcast 3 months ago is that you're not going to have an ROI. You're not going to have a return on your investment for a very long time, unless you're a celebrity or a well-known figure, or if you have a celebrity co-host. In my case, I didn't really have much of an audience. I worked with celebrities. I worked with amazing people, but they're not coming on my show yet. I have some amazing people planned to come on the show, and I'm slowly rolling it out, but I don't have that celebrity backing. So for me, because I came up as a behind the scenes type of person, I don't have that clout that some people do. And therefore I need to build my audience before I can get sponsorships, before I can get, money to fund the show. So, to get sponsors, you need better numbers across your platforms. You need consistent numbers. You need, thousands of listeners and downloads per episode per month. And, while I'm getting there, I'm not fully there yet. And with that being said, if you're listening to this podcast or watching it on all platforms, please subscribe because I could use your support. Seriously, please, let's get the numbers up. Give me 5 stars. Give me up the ranks. The more you help me, the faster the show will grow. I just want to throw that in there. Okay, next. The fourth thing that I learned from starting a podcast 3 months ago is that amongst all the channels that I'm posting on, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, each platform performs completely differently. So for me right now, when I post a clip on Instagram that does super well, it never does well on TikTok or YouTube. But then sometimes a clip on YouTube or like YouTube Shorts will do really well, but it won't do well on Instagram or TikTok. So there's no correlation. It's really weird. I mean, it's still early for me to tell. You would assume that if a clip goes super viral on TikTok, that it would be the same on Instagram. I haven't really experienced that yet. So I'm still trying to figure out if there will ever be a correlation. But it's still kind of early. And, I'm not sure. Maybe TikTok has a different audience than Instagram, and maybe Instagram has a different audience than YouTube. And I think that's part of it. But, I'm not sure. This is something that's developing, and I hope I can get a better answer for you guys. But that's my current finding. Next, the fifth thing that I have learned and examined from starting my podcast 3 months ago is that over 80% of my audience has grown from one semi-viral Instagram reel. Like one reel got me 80% of my audience, which is crazy, right? Like I post, I don't know if I'm at 100 posts by now. I post almost every single day for the most part, right? And so if you go for the past, 3 months, that's 10, that's probably around 100 posts by now, or by the time this comes out. And it just out of that 100, let's say, only one reel went pretty mini viral. And that one reel was the one that built my audience the most. So it just goes to show, like, you never know what can help your audience grow, and you got to be consistent with posting. Like in my case, if that reel didn't go semi-viral, like if I never even posted that reel, I would have significantly less followers and a good amount of less listeners. I was kind of doing the conversion because the amount of followers you have on, Instagram, TikTok, etc., it doesn't convert to listeners on the podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, YouTube. There's not a direct conversion. But what I've noticed is for like every, within my first 10,000 followers that I got, about 1 to 3%, or maybe 1 to 4% kind of converted to actual listeners. So for every 10,000 followers that I got on Instagram, about 100 to 400 were like kind of tuning in to my episodes on average. It's kind of hard to say because some episodes got thousands of listeners and then some episodes only got hundreds. So when I just average it out, I kind of saw like, okay, for every 10,000, consistently, there's like a few hundred listeners. As you can tell, it's still a very young and new show. So I'm still trying to dial in these numbers, but I noticed that there's not a direct conversion from social media to podcasting platforms. In fact, some people are only going to watch your clips and they're never going to listen to your podcast. And that's okay. You just have to accept that. And you have to just keep grinding, keep pushing, and, find those people who are willing to listen the whole episodes. The sixth thing that I learned from releasing my podcast 3 months ago is that Instagram outperforms TikTok and every other platform by a landslide. Like Instagram outperforms everything, at least for me right now at this point in 2025. Instagram's conversion in the algorithm is significantly better than TikTok. And I'm not sure why. Again, I don't know if it's because there's a certain type of people on TikTok who don't resonate with my posts or my content, or maybe just the algorithm's not serving them to those people. And so I'm trying to now figure out, how can I get my algorithm targeted more to cater towards the people who are seeing my Instagram posts? Because I know there's got to be still some of my Instagram audience on TikTok, but how can I get the TikTok people to see it? Or even YouTube, like on YouTube Shorts, if I post an Instagram reel that gets 10, 20,000 views, why is it only getting 200 views on YouTube Shorts? Is it just the way I'm writing my descriptions? Do I need to change the description per platform? Do I need to use different hashtags? I'm not really sure. So I'm still trying to test this out. And if anybody has any ideas or they want to drop it in the comments, I'm super open to your thoughts, because I genuinely have no idea why Instagram outperforms every other platform. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Even when I post the same exact clip, it's crazy. And on that note, my top performing podcast platform right now, besides YouTube, I think right now YouTube is number one, but then second is Apple, and third is Spotify. And I don't know if Apple converts better. I think I've noticed Apple Podcasts does a better job showing people when a new episode drops versus Spotify. Like when people are on Spotify, a lot of my friends have Spotify, they don't actually know when a new episode drops until I post an Instagram clip, and I announce this episode's out. But for the people who are subscribed on Apple, from what I've observed, at least from what I'm being told, is that they get a notification, and I think sometimes it even automatically downloads the episode if they have that setting on. And so a lot of these people are immediately served new episodes, new content, and Apple does a great job letting them know that, whereas Spotify doesn't. And I think YouTube lets people know too, like my subscribers, YouTube lets them know a new video is dropped as well. So I think right now, in terms of ranking for platforms for podcasting, YouTube's number one, Apple's number two, Spotify's number three, and then the rest kind of follow after, like Amazon and I don't know, Pandora, whatever. I'm on like every single platform. I'm not really tracking those. Those are all kind of grouped together with the Apple. So maybe that's why. Maybe my audio in general is just being grouped together, and that's why the numbers are looking higher than Spotify. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. Because basically, just so you guys know, the way it works is I have to upload my podcast separately to 3 different platforms. YouTube is its own platform because I want video. Spotify is its own platform because I want video on Spotify. If I didn't want video on Spotify, I could use the same tool, the same server that I'm using for Apple. But because I want video, Spotify supports video, so I have to upload to the Spotify portal. It's called Spotify for Creators. And then for audio, for everything else, for Apple, Amazon, Deezer, whatever the platforms are, I have to use another service that lets me upload to those. So audio, so I have an audio platform for Apple, Amazon, etc. I have my Spotify portal, and then I have my YouTube portal. So 3 different uploads. The next thing I learned from starting a podcast 3 months ago is that TikTok scheduling tool is horrible. Absolutely terrible. Do not use it. It will eat up it will not even give you any views. And so for those who don't know, you can't schedule a TikTok post through the app on your phone. But if you use desktop, they have a scheduling tool. So and it's from TikTok themselves. It's not like a third-party app. So you can use a tool. You can upload TikTok posts and schedule them in advance from their tool. And when I use that tool, my clips were getting like 3 or 4 or 5 views. They were going up, but they were getting like no views, So I stopped using the tool, and then I took those clips and re-uploaded them just through my phone. I didn't schedule them. I didn't time them. And those exact clips were getting, several hundred views. So instantly, within just a day of A/B testing this, I found that the desktop scheduling tool, for some reason, just didn't push my video out to anybody. So I don't know if it's like a glitch. I don't know if it was like an error with their software. But if you're using TikTok's desktop scheduling tool, odds are you may end up in the same situation as me, and you're gonna get like no views or engagement. So I'm just warning you. That's what I learned. Maybe it's different for you guys. I don't know. The next thing I learned from starting this podcast 3 months ago is that when I first started this podcast, I had an initial spike from episode 1. There was excitement, I had my friends watching, I had my family watching, I had, people rooting me on because I was an underdog. So coworkers, colleagues, people were watching me and they're like, go, you got this. We're supporting you. So people, they followed the page. Everybody watched episode 1 because they wanted to see what this podcast was all about. And so I had a big amount of momentum, right? And so the momentum that I built, I had people tuning in for the first few episodes, but that excitement kind of faded, right? And that's normal, by the way. Like, you can't expect your friends and family to really be tapped into the niche that you're talking about with your show. Like, my niche is not applicable to all my friends and family. They might not be super into like the creative world and all this stuff, So I understood that, it was normal to lose some of that momentum. And, I knew that I had a lot of my supporters just there because they loved me and they were friends and family. And I was aware that that excitement was going to fade. So my point here is that, if you have a spike, if you have momentum, you have to run with it. You have to capitalize off momentum. So it doesn't mean slow down, right? Like, my best performing video currently is still my first episode. That's still my best performing episode yet, right? And that was from my momentum. So what I did was I capitalized on it. I started posting multiple clips every day. I was engaging a lot with other people. I sent a lot of those clips to the guest, Director X, and he started posting them on his own time. And he didn't even tell me. He just like, yeah, thank you. I sent him the clips. He's like, awesome, thank you. And you just posting them randomly, right? And that momentum that I built from episode 1 helped carry into that viral clip. And that viral clip is what really helped me build an audience. So I leveraged the momentum to the best of my ability. Could I have brought on other crazy, insane big guests? Maybe, but it was also early and I didn't want to just rely on insanely huge guests to push me forward, because you never know. It's still a new show, And so for me, I just wanted to start with a bang. I wanted to build momentum and I wanted to ride it. And I knew the momentum could fade. So I just wanted to figure out, okay, while I have the momentum, how can I capitalize it? And how can I create that next wave, that next stepping stone momentum, and grow from there? So this right now is something I'm learning from. I'm still trying to figure it out. But just know your initial spike is going to be amazing. So when you first launch a show, go hard. Don't stop, because that is the best time for you to build your audience quickly. Okay. The next thing that I learned from starting a podcast, and this is something really important that I learned from starting my podcast just a few months ago. And it's that you should not be afraid of posting. Don't be afraid to post. Don't be afraid of judgment. My issue is that I'm not the type of guy who's really like, in front of camera type of person. And I feel like sometimes it's cringy, but I believe in the show. I believe in, the value that I can provide to other people. And so I told myself, you know what? Fuck it. Don't worry about judgment. Just go in there, provide value. Make every clip, everything you post, make it and create it with intention, and your audience won't hate you. Because I was worried about my audience getting burned out. I was worried about people getting bored, but that wasn't the right mindset. And since I've kind of let go of that fear of judgment, my audience has retained. My audience retention is really good. So I actually don't have, as of now, I haven't had much of a drop off. If anything, I've been seeing steady growth, which is great. So I now know that there's no such thing as posting too much as long as my content is good. As long as your content is good, don't worry about posting too much. If the content is good, if it provides value to people, if it looks cool, sounds cool, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Now, the final thing that I have learned from starting this podcast 3 months ago, and I touched on this before, but the final thing that I've learned is that growth is non-linear. So we talked about this already. When you first launch a show, you have a spike in your audience, you have a lot of new listeners. And then as you go on, you're going to have ebbs and flows, ups and downs, right? And again, I had a couple spikes. The first was my first episode with Director X. And the second was that clip that went semi-viral that got amassed like 500,000 views. Not a whole lot, but a good amount. And so when I had those spikes, I realized that, my audience, the growth of my audience kind of looks like this. It's going up, but it's gonna flatline, might go down, it's gonna slightly go up, okay, flatline again. And so what I've learned is that, growth in this industry, growth in podcasting is nonlinear. I believe it was Chris Williamson or one of the bigger podcasters, and he said that most of his audience growth happened within the span of just a few months or like a year. And I think the same thing happened with Diary of a CEO. For those who watch him, Steve Bartlett, I believe. He's awesome. I love him. I love Chris. Like, shout out to those guys. They're incredible at what they do. And I believe they were talking about how their growth was exponential, right? And so a good bulk of their audiences, of their millions of listeners, a good bulk of that happened within a very short amount of time. And so I personally am not there yet. I haven't seen that exponential growth. I've seen a tiny bit, from that mini viral clip, but I'm not even close to being on that level yet, And so I think what happens is, your footage or your episodes and your clips are like real estate. One day there's going to be 10 people seeing your episode here. Another day there's going to be 100 people, but every day there's going to be a little bit of viewership. And so it kind of compounds. It's like real estate, like with real estate, you buy properties, they appreciate in value, they give you cash flow. And so the same concept could apply to content. Like with content, it could be the same thing. If you're putting stuff out there and it's living on your page, it's living on your channels, a lot of them will slowly grow and then accumulate viewership. So let's say I drop a popular episode with this person today. A lot of those new people are going to go back and look at my old stuff and vice versa. So it could work. It could totally work. And I think, so it's good to know this because I don't want to set expectations for myself. And I need to understand that, again, growth is nonlinear and that's okay. That's it. So those are 10 things that I've learned from launching my podcast just a little over 3 months ago. And it's all been amazing learning lessons. And I'm stoked to see where this journey goes. I hope I could provide you all an amazing update in another 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. We'll see how frequently I do these episodes, but let's see how things play out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Y'all know what to do. Please help me out. I have like no 5-star ratings. I have just a few on Spotify and Apple and YouTube. YouTube's like thumbs up, whatever. What I'm trying to say is I need your help. Rate the show 5 stars on all platforms. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube. Please help grow the show. Help spread the word. I'm doing this all alone in the studio today. One-man band. I could use some help. And honestly, I'm so thankful for you all. I'm so thankful that you're all watching this show and you're actually down to be a part of the journey with me. This is so cool to me. I'm so thankful for everybody watching. And more importantly, I'm quite in awe at how many people have reached out to me, expressing their gratitude for the show, but also, for my vulnerability and for their appreciation for the set and what we're doing here. And a lot of people have told me they're now inspired to start creating content themselves because of this. And the fact that I have been able to inspire, a handful of people in such a short amount of time is a testament to how powerful, content creation can be. So I love this. I love this journey. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to keep going. I'm not going to stop anytime. I'm never going to stop. I'm telling you that right now. I'm never going to stop. And I'm excited to keep growing with you all. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And most importantly, I want to give a big round of applause to ourselves. Love y'all. Take care. Peace.